Hello, and welcome to a quick guide video regarding the Force of Nature Apprentice level Druid spell from the Triumvirate Mage Archetypes mod. Once you reach level 15 in the Alteration skill, you can purchase this spell from Danica Purespring in Whiterun, Dravinia the Stoneweaver in Kingsgrove, and Froki from his cabin deep in the Forest of the Rift. Casting this spell transforms you into the Horned Lord, a gnarled wooden behemoth. This form is a bit more nuanced than the Vampire Lord and Werewolf forms, so let's take a look at some of the pros and cons. For the pros, unlike Vampire Lord and Beast forms, you get to keep your armor, jewelry, and all of their enchantments through the transformation. This is a huge plus. You get a bonus to unarmed attack damage equal to your alteration skill level, so at alteration level 100 you get a plus 100 boost to attack damage. You get a bonus to unarmed power attack damage equal to 2 times your alteration skill level, so at alteration level 100 your power attacks will get an extra 200 damage boost. For dual flurry attacks you get a 2.5 bonus to damage. The dual flurry attack is when you hold both attack buttons down while unarmed. This takes even most boss characters down in one flurry attack with the proper perks. The dual flurry attack also applies the Mark of Hircine to the target, which lowers its armor rating by 2.5 times your alteration skill level. So if your enemy somehow survives the attack, the next one will hurt way more. All power attacks will also absorb magicka from the target, giving you a way to extend your time in this form. The Horned Lord form also allows you to keep whatever spell you have in the other hand equipped through the transformation. This will void any unarmed perks you have, but it does allow for some utility if you need a ranged attack or a ward, crowd control, or really any other kind of spell. Casting the transformation with the other hand empty allows you to make use of any unarmed perks you might have in the light armor tree. This pumps up your attack damage to ridiculous levels in Horned Lord form, especially when stacked with the alteration boost mentioned earlier. Any lasting active magical or alchemical effects will carry over through the transformation, just like the Vampire Lord and Werewolf forms. Lastly, you're still able to dodge roll in Horned Lord form if you have the TK dodge mod installed. This leaves you with another valuable defensive ability after you transform. Moving on to the cons, simply being in this form will cost 5 magicka per second, acting as a timer. Once you run out, you'll revert forms, which could be a dangerous prospect as a mage character in a hostile area, so you'll want to keep an eye on that. Weapons are unequipped when you transform, so you won't get the benefit of any tempering or enchantments on that gear, but the unarmed damage boosts easily make up for this, so it's a minor annoyance, but something to consider anyway. The Spellscribe perk doesn't seem to work in this form. This perk allows you to hook up a spell to melee power attacks, adding a lot of diversity to melee gameplay. It works fine in Werewolf form, but not in Horned Lord form. This could be a glitch on my end, but really ends up being fine in terms of balance in the grand scheme of things. Just make sure to save before taking this one so you don't waste the perk point. The Hissing Dragon Unarmed perk also doesn't seem to work in this form. This one adds a projectile wave of elemental energy to your unarmed attacks, also adding diversity to the playstyle. Again, this doesn't affect balance much in the end, so no big deal, just make sure you don't waste perk points trying to do this. Now, with the pros and cons out of the way, let's take a look at some tips, tricks, and synergies that might not be obvious with this form. Spells you have hooked up to trigger when entering combat via the Okado's Recital spell will also trigger in Horned Lord form. You can use this to cast spells to increase armor rating or add a healing over time effect to counteract a lack of active defensive options in this form. The Labskeever Alchemy perk from Ordinator can vastly increase the effective time and power of beneficial potions you take within 20 seconds of leaving an alchemy station. This will keep these effects active much longer even after you transform. If you're running CACO or the Hunterborn mod, you'll be able to obtain a Mortar and Pestle item, which also counts as an alchemy station for the purposes of this perk, so you can get this buff anywhere. This is highly recommended if you intend to spend lots of time in this form. Speaking of alchemical effects, Fortify Magicka potions become very important, as they allow you to vastly extend the time you can spend in Horned Lord form. Since you can keep enchantments from equipped armor and jewelry, Fortify Magicka effects on your gear can also be important. The effects from the Dragon Aspect Shout also carry over through the transformation. You probably don't need the extra damage output, but the additional armor rating and magic resistance could definitely be helpful. Finally, there are a couple of restoration perks from Ordinator that can restore magicka during a battle, which can keep you in the form longer and potentially even indefinitely as long as you're in combat. The Descending Light perk restores magicka in the first 15 seconds of a fight, which may be all you need with this kind of damage, but you can also take the Warrior's Flame perk, which will quickly restore magicka whenever the flame lands on you during the fight. And that does it for this quick guide. If it helped you out, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel for more Skyrim content, including full build guides, small tips like this, and to hang out for the weekend live streams. Take care and see you around.